the streets money and the policing and the struggles.
Well, hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Denise Hankson Lawrence, and I'm back again with the Voices of Our Youth. And I have the pleasure today of introducing to you my niece, Kiki, and to hear her point of views today on being Black, what that means to her, and this movement that's occurring right now in our nation and all over different aspects of the world. So, Kiki, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kiara Bailey. I'm a psychology pre-med major from Connecticut, but I went to Hampton University. I plan to be an OBGYN in the future, and that's what I'm working towards.
Talk a little bit about, you said you went to Hampton, which I know that Hampton is in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
And Black colleges, right?
Yes, top five.
Excuse me. Let me say that again. Hampton University is considered among the top 5 Black historical college. Now, since we said that, and we said that with so much pride, talk a little bit about that. Was that a major factor? Did that factor in at all in your decision making as to where you would go to college?
Yes, for sure. So my mom actually wanted me to stay in Connecticut. I didn't want to do that though. I actually spent like most of my life at schools where I was probably like, the third Black person in my class or something like that. And, I was fine with that. It was cool. I had to learn different things about different people, different cultures, all of that. But someone had said to me, like, these are your 4 years that are going to be very personal to you, your growth, everything like that. And I was just like, HBCU, like, let's just be around my people, And it was beautiful. The experience was great. There's like just competition of brains, like not your color, but just your brains, just who you are, what you love, not having to, protect yourself every day amongst people that are supposed to be of you, So it was just comforting. It was so great to see like how many smart, beautiful Black people there are, because when you're just limited to just the 3 of you, you think that, oh, it's just us, or you automatically walk into the classroom and you feel the pressure is on, where you have to prove yourself, where you have to represent the Black population, where you don't have to do that at an HBCU. You can just be yourself.
Isn't that great though?
Yeah.
You will see statues of many historical figures, such as our founder, General Samuel Chapman Armstrong.
And our president, Dr. William R. Harvey, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., President Barack Obama, and Rosa Parks.
Like you explained earlier about being in a diverse community, the pressure for you to shine. And among the 3, then it becomes so competitive because there's only 3 of you. And like, who's going to really mess up the Black race, right? Who's going to really mess up the Black culture? Like, is it you? Is it me? Or all 3 of us just going to do it? Yeah. And it's always that 1%, right? And then don't you feel like sometimes when you're in that kind of a setting, it's like you're in that setting and the expectation is even higher, and you're constantly having to educate the other culture, the other race, as to like who you are, what is your Blackness, and if you look too Black or you don't behave Black enough. Have you experienced that?
Well, I'd say not so much to me, but I have seen that, because it just depends on where you are, where you just become the voice of Black people because you're the only one there, So even just as simply getting your hair done and coming in the next day. Wow, I like it. It's just always attention, whereas like at an HBCU, like this is us. We know what we do. Like braids, you look good, girl. Like, just simply that, not wow. The braids.
And that need to touch, like
yeah, all of that. It's just it's your 4 years. You get to be selfish with it, and I feel like it's a positive. I've heard a lot of negatives, like even before I even accepted, the letter. I've heard things like, you're going to be behind, or it's not as, you're not going to get, the same education, which really I think they mean white education. Because
Hey,
it's
let's
like,
call it what it is, right?
yeah, it was really weird, but I had to just make the decision for myself, and I don't regret it.
That's beautiful. See, why live a life of regret, right? And that experience being in Virginia, though, seeing that it's a historical Black college and it's in Virginia. Virginia, we know, have its history, right, of racism and leading up to where we are now today. Did you feel any way? Was that a concern? Like, okay, yeah, it was back then, so it's different now. Did it at least play any, like, not necessarily fears or doubt, but were you concerned about that while you were there, or just being in that community of all that Blackness made you feel so comfortable?
I think I was so comfortable being in the community at my school that I'd even forget that outside existed. Also because I didn't have a car for the first 3 years. So most of the things were on campus with just us.
Mm-hmm.
So besides having to get groceries or things like that, that's when it would be like, oh yeah, there's other people here. It would be like, okay. But, I grew up very diverse in that way, like, elementary, middle school, high school, mostly white counterparts anyways. So it wasn't so much of a shock, but you could see the difference in location, how a lot of, like if there was racism, it would be loud and proud. Whereas in Connecticut, it's not so loud and proud. It's kind of like you have to figure that out.
Yeah,
about
cypher your way through, right.
Yeah, but for the most part, in my experience, because I know some people's might be different depending on when they attended, it was pretty much okay.
But when you actually ventured out, you saw the racism, and it was, hey, it is who I am who I am, and I'm proud. If you don't like it, yeah, I'm looking at you cross-eyed, I'm looking at you funny because you're Black, right? And so you knew right away, the alarm went off, like, oh.
Definitely different. And also the fact that, like, attending Hampton, it's like it's the home, it's the Mecca. So if they see you in your Hampton, t-shirt or whatever, they automatically, it's like a respect, like you're doing, something good. So I can only imagine the difference of what you say, regular Black people that are not attending anything. They're just there, they're living their life. It's probably a different encounter for them.
So sad. So let's come on up now to, let's discuss a little bit on our current situation, right? With the death of Mr. Floyd and those who precede him, But with regards to Mr. Floyd and what we see in terms of Black Lives Matter movement, right? We see a lot of young people out. Just speaking to the event of the younger voice and the older voice, do you see the need for both?
I definitely see the need for both, because when you look at it, the amount of Black lives lost, they're not even just Black men. So it's not a gender thing. It's all of us. It's all inclusive of Black people. It's not an age thing, because Emmett Till in the 1950s was 14. And then you have, is it Tamir?
Yeah.
That was not in 1950. That was in the 2000s. And, that's the age thing. He was probably 12, I'd say. He's a young kid. So age doesn't even matter. We can set that aside, what people think or how they think it should look, because I feel that we're expressing ourselves in many different ways. And even it, like, say the looting, even that, you don't have to agree with it, but to say that, peaceful protests, like, we tried that, or not even just we, but the older generation, you guys tried that. We're trying things simultaneously together. And I think the point of it all is that we have to be together in whatever we choose to do, because that's the only way to move these mountains that are here right now.
Yeah.
It's just very important to put aside whatever we think negatively about the age or whatever gaps there are, and just fill them in with more people and be in one accord with what is going to happen.
We have to give that space of respect for everyone to grieve, because a lot of Black people are grieving right now.
Yeah.
And it's a mix of emotions. Now, let me ask you a question now. With all this thing for young people, you know, you guys have all these massive of social media platforms. How important is it, do you think, that they should use that as well? You guys should utilize that to make your point, make your stand, and let your voice be heard.
I think it's very important to use the internet as best as we know how to use it right now. Because a lot of the recordings that we have seen of police brutality, we only have that because of how far technology has come. And so even that, when people say, like, you know, racism didn't stop or didn't quiet down, it's just being recorded, that's true. And so, you know, we've learned that with the internet, you can, even with the COVID, we automatically transition to online classes because we can do that now. They've taken technology to another level, and they've found ways to use it to their best. And so I think using Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even Snapchat, because you have family in other countries, other places around the world that can see that stuff. You have news outlets that can see what you're posting. Things go viral every day on Twitter, on Instagram. And I think that if we're using it to spread awareness about what's going on, even as a form of protesting, I know that one of the days they had a blackout day where everybody was posting like a black screen and, you know, some caption that would enlighten people, or however it was supposed to work. Even that, you go down your Instagram timeline and it's black, it's just black, and you have to see like what's going on. Right. You want to know what's going on, what's trending on Twitter, what's trending, what are you guys talking about? And it'll highlight it for you just like that. So anyone that's willing, even if you don't want to be willing, you're gonna see it whether you want to see it or not. I didn't want to see recordings of people dying on my feed, but I had no choice because somebody put it there, and now we've all seen it, you know. And so if that's a way that we can use to our advantage, then I think we should use it.
Speaking about your mom, Suzette, now I know that you had an opportunity to do something that is so profound to you, and it means a lot, just this week past. And do you mind just sharing that with regards to the Black Lives Matter?
Oh yes, we went to a protest. It was for George Floyd, and you know, he's not the only one that this protest is for, and I think a lot of people should know that. He's not the only one, because the list goes on forever. But it was great. I did see a lot of young people, but I also did see some older people, and then I saw many different races with us. And so I think that was very important, just the unity. But I also realized I never like protested with my mom. So it was like, whoa. And my mom was like, our first protest. And you know, it's like, it's great to see us together. It's just sad that the reason is we're fighting for our lives here, you know? But it's great to see how we can all come together for something.
And what made it even more special, you guys, we just had, you know, laid your grandmother to rest. God rest her soul.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful woman, a woman of love, as you so profoundly put it. Kind of like educated the whole family about what love is. But to know that despite what you guys were just enduring, in less than a day or two after laying her to rest, here you are out there together, a mother and a daughter, different generation, actually standing, walking, and being a part of a movement that is going to eventually help to change the lives of other Black people. It's amazing. And I'm so proud that you did that. I'm so proud you did that. But let's share the secret. It actually wasn't your first protest now, was it?
No, I realized that it wasn't. I think my first protest was with my cousin. She had invited me. I think I was in 8th grade in middle school. It was in New York, and it was actually a Black Lives Matter protest. And I realized that was my first one. So at that time, I was probably one of many of the young kids, but they were way older than me. So I can imagine now, if that were to happen again, how the generations would look to
Yeah.
see, like, now I'm the older one, whereas somebody else would say she's so much older than me.
Right.
It's crazy because it's like we're right back there again.
Just in closing though, I have one last question for you. Obviously you have a brother, obviously you have a father, and they're Black, and obviously you have cousins that are also Black, male cousins. What is your takeaway with all of this, and what is your hope for the future, or do you have hope at all? What are your expectations in terms of what is little Chase gonna endure when he gets older? Right now he's an infant, right? Your youngest cousin, he's an infant. And what do you think his life is going to look like in this society, if at all, after all this, and after we go out and vote, and after we make our voices heard as loud as we can and scream from the deepest part of our being? Do you think there will be a change? Are you hopeful? And what do we do in the meantime? How do we nurture, how do we protect someone like Chase, an infant?
For me, I feel like it's our duty as sisters, cousins, aunts, brothers, uncles, anybody. It's our duty to make sure, it doesn't matter how young these kids are, they have to know that they're just not treated equal. It's not something you can wait to tell them until it's too late. Because you see that where people, they tell their kids, well, they think to themselves, it's too early to tell my daughter or son, these things. But we have rules, and we have to tell our kids. Even when I have children, it doesn't matter what it looks like outside. I have to tell them, because this has happened for so long. It's built into our systems. Well, they purposefully built these systems to be that way. Mm-hmm. And it's not just going to happen overnight, the change that has to happen. So thankfully, as I said before, when you compare Virginia to Connecticut, I would say I don't worry as much, but the worry is still definitely there because of the location. Because I know that in Georgia right now, it looks way different than here. Especially with just the police brutality. Not that it doesn't exist, just the rate of it, And racism is everywhere. It's just how blatant they are with it. And so you have to let everybody know. You have to always have that protection, knowledge about it. That's all I can say. And just do what you have to do, Don't do anything that is outside of what we're supposed to be doing. Right, because that just makes it way worse. You don't have to do anything really, but stepping outside of that, it just makes it even worse.
Right, but you do see hope though.
I do see hope. You can't let hope slip away. Yeah. You have to keep hope. Even though it looks terrible.
Yeah. Oh my God, Kiki, I'm so proud of you. Oh my God, my Black OBGYN. Congrats, class of 2020. Hey. So proud of you, voice of our youth. Thank you so much, Kiki. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you for doing this to me. Probably gonna have to give you a special gift, right? Yes. Yes. Get you out of your comfort zone. But thank you so much. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for speaking to this and sharing your point of view, and having that experience to protest and to be in the moment, to own the moment, to speak to the moment, speaks so much volume. And I certainly appreciate you. Thank you, and we'll chat. All right. Bye, sweetie. Bye.